Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this lovely Saturday afternoon. My name is Sangeeta George, and I am the Associate Vice President for Guidance Solutions at Univariety. If you're not familiar with Univariety, well, we are one of India's largest career counseling edtech company that offers career counseling technology for students from K to 12 schools for about 250 to 300 schools here in India. So we work with a lot of students and educators and teachers, and we're so happy that all of you are here. Whatever background you're from, welcome. We're so happy and excited that you're here. We definitely do request that you stay till the end of the session. We're going to be talking about tools and techniques and theories which are used in the career counseling field. So for some of you that may be new, but it's okay. It's a little bit of learning that you'll be doing today. So I really urge you to stay till the end, because we will be giving certificates out to those who are here, those who are going to stay till the end. So if you would like a certificate saying that you attended this workshop or this webinar, then I definitely urge you to stay. So once again, thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to go really quickly into my PowerPoint so that we have some time at the end that we can at least have really good dialogue. I got feedback from last time that I was hurrying through my webinar and my presentation, and that we didn't have time for question and answer, but I'm going to take it slow. It's a lovely Saturday evening, so we can take it easy, and please feel free to comment or put your questions down, any thoughts, any ideas, anything that y'all are doing. We would be more than happy to hear from you. Okay, so really quickly, just to go into what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to look at an overview of career counseling. So what does it mean actually when someone says that they're a career counselor or they're going to have a career counseling session? We're going to talk in general about the process that people normally follow. Now you could, think about working with high school students, college students, adults who are thinking of changing their career, any of it, okay? But when I talk about the stages of career counseling, I'm going to talk mainly pertaining to high school students and what we at Univariety are doing, just so that you can relate a little bit with regards to the stages. Well, I'm going to talk about the benefit of having a clear process and why it's important not to have it all haphazard. It needs to be organized, it needs to be tracked, and the importance of that. And eventually, why are you here today? What's in it for you, and how can you benefit out of some of these things that we're talking about? Okay, so please, for those who were here last time, please excuse me, but we're going to talk really quickly just for people to get an idea of what's happening in India right now. And every time I look at this slide, I am so astonished with regards to this disparity in numbers. So if you just see my slide, what it says is the vast majority of students who are graduating from high school, they really struggle to find a satisfying college admission. And you know why that is? Because of the numbers. So there are 1 crore students. Can you imagine 1 crore students who actually graduate from grade 12 every year? But if you look at the good government, I'm only talking about good, well-known government colleges, private universities, and those that are going abroad to study, it's only 5 lakhs a year. So what happens to the rest of that students, the 95 lakhs? What is happening to them? Nobody knows, or there is no amount of guidance that has been given to them. Take a look at this. We ran a survey with about 60,000 parents and students from 27 different schools. And if you look at it old school, when some of us went to school and university, all you needed was a good passing percentage, right? You had good marks. It was automatic that you're going to get into a really good college. Nobody even had to think about, anything else. And therefore, everyone was happy. You're happy, your parents are happy, relatives are happy, yay, everyone's talking about it. But that's not what it is like anymore. Look at what we found out. We found out that 86% of students are so concerned about their study options, let alone going abroad, even here in India. Where to study, what kind of course do they choose? And I have to say this is so true, because we've been running webinars every day, and the kind of questions that students are asking me, they're desperate for answers. They don't know where else to go. Only 8% students attribute guidance to their own school. Can you imagine? So just look at what is happening in the school scenario. So whether you're a teacher right now, whether you're an educator, whether you're somebody who's doing a completely different business or profession, and you're thinking, what, I really want to make an impact, here is your chance. Look at the disparity. Look at these numbers that are showing how there is such a need for career counseling right now. And 82% of parents were considering changing schools just for that one pure reason of having college guidance in a particular school. So they're willing to take a child out of a particular, and the impact of taking a child out sometimes in between is a whole different webinar on its own, right? So, but parents who are willing to take that risk and move their child into another school just so that they would have that opportunity to talk to a guidance counselor. So again, and I will keep saying this to all of you, who lovely people who are sitting there listening to me, if you are thinking, what can I do? I just want to upskill. I want to make a difference. I've been teaching for 15, 20 years. What else can I do? Here is your chance. Career counseling is the need of the hour. Look at what's happening around us. All the more reason students need help. And we're saying it, we see it on a daily basis from parents and students, how much they're needing that guidance. Okay, so let's try and make an impact, be there to support parents and students however we can. So let's just look at what is career counseling, right? So when you're looking, this is for those of you who are not aware, or you've had mixed thoughts about what it is. First of all, what it does, this is again in general, anyone from high school to a middle-aged person who now suddenly thinks, what, I don't want to be a businessman anymore. I want to be an artist, whatever it might be. Okay. So what we do is, what career counseling does, it provides clarity in career-related issues. So very important, career-related issues. So whether it is setting career goals, or whether it is to help somebody plan, how do you put a career plan together to reach that goal? Or maybe they want to develop themselves, just such as yourselves, what you all are doing, or just getting career development in any way, attending a certification, or going to do another master's, whatever it might be, just helping them through that process of thinking about how they can put these in place. Secondly, using different theories and techniques to make informed decisions. Now, we always tell everyone, using techniques is just a tool. Career counseling is not just talking. People say, counselors, they love to talk. They're very wordy. They love just, talking and talking and talking. It's true, but it's just one thing that we do. Okay, we also listen. We also use tools, we use different techniques to come to a very holistic decision, a very objective decision. So here are theories and techniques to make those informed decisions. So let me just run you through some theories really quickly. So there's the Frank Parsons trait and factor theory. What it says is, examines the personality of an individual. And then what it does is also looks at the job traits of a particular job. And then they compare how many similarities or differences there is between the personality of an individual and the job traits. And then they find a match. Okay, so that's one. We all know, if you all are familiar with psychology, if you've had any kind of background, there's the Holland's Code, or we talk about the Holland's theory, which talks about the RIASEC, which is the realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. So looking at that, we make students or individuals do tests, look at what their top two are, and look at the kind of occupations that would be good for them. There is the learning theory of career counseling, so that's also there. There's the Rose personality theory. I hope some of you have heard of it, or maybe not. What it does is look at how individuals choose careers based on their interaction with their parents at a very young age. How interesting, right? So that's another. So different counselors use different theories for their practice. All right. There's also assessments or techniques that you can use, like the self-directed search. There's the MBTI, which is the Myers-Briggs type indicator. There's a temperament and values indicator. There's tons. We're going to talk about some of those in detail in just a little bit. But these are some theories and techniques that career counselors might use in their career counseling practice. Thirdly, very important to focus on different stages to find that right fit. I always tell students, it's not about just putting together a college list, right? You need to look at if that is a good enough fit for you. Is that a place or a university that will bring out the best in you? Is the learning style going to be, good for what you've been used to? Is the teaching style what you're used to, and what is going to complement you in your learning experience? So important to go through those different stages, which we'll be going through also. And then, of course, helping individuals identify their personality, their interests, their abilities, values, in order to make that objective decision. Okay, so I hope that's clear with regards to what career counseling is. Now, really quickly, I know we've looked through this. A lot of you know the process of career counseling basically is intake. So you have a conversation with an individual, with a student. You do a psychometric test, because the intake is more subjective. Psychometric is an objective view or a perception or perspective. And then there's counseling, which recommends maybe colleges, maybe careers, courses, based on the counseling session you had, and also the reports from the psychometric testing. So that's really, like, in 2 minutes, I've told you what the process is. So it can go anywhere from 2 months to 6 months to 2 years. It just depends on what stage your client or the individual is going to be at. All right. So if you look this up, the stages of career counseling anywhere, there are 5 main stages that they talk about. So first is the initiation. Don't worry, I'm going to go into it. We will be talking about it in detail. There is exploration, there's decision making, there's preparation, and finally, there's implementation. So 5 steps, no matter who you're working with, what age group they are, ideally from grade 9 onwards and above, college students, adults, whatever. But it's important to go through this cycle in order to take a well-informed decision at the end. Now, in order to make it easy, because I know some of you are here not from a counseling background or a psychology background, and so just for the purpose of remembering, what I did is I came up with 4 different words, kind of saying the same thing. It's just the same thing that we just saw before. Okay, all of these words that I have just put it in a way that would be easy for you to remember. Okay, so engage, explore, evaluate, execute. If you haven't noticed, they all start with E, so that you will be able to remember better. Okay, so engage, explore, evaluate, and execute. All right, so the first one, engage, which also we have just been talking about. What I'm going to do is, just before I start to explain all of this, I'm going to tell you in general what each of these means and what that stage means. And just so that you can relate, I'm going to tell you what we do at Univariety in these different stages. Okay, because I tell you, all of you, having a process, even for you as an individual, as a professional, just to have some sort of organization, to do something in an organized manner, makes it so much more different, right? So much more effective. All right, so that's why I'm going to relate it to what we're doing here at Univariety in each of these stages. So first, which is engage, which is the initiation, right? So this is basically about establishing a really strong relationship or a connect between the counselor and the student. All right, so by means of a conversation, they get to know aspirations, hobbies, interests, so they just getting to know each other. So it really has to be a time where you as a counselor are also going to share what do you like to do, what are your interests. So it's a very subjective kind of conversation, okay? And you also provide information on what is it that you expect from them. Are you expecting that you talk to them once a week? Are you expecting that if you send them homework that they respond to you after 2 days, after 4 days? Are you expecting confidentiality, that what is talked about, in that conversation with you and the student, that it will remain confidential? Are parent input important? Things like that, so that the child is aware right from the beginning what it is going to look like. So all of that happens in the engage stage, which is the first. At Univariety, what we do is ideally this starts in grade 8 or 9. And no, it's not too early, because we've heard this from people. It's not too early. There are kids, or there are students who actually are very keen to start from grade 6 and 7, and you really can. Some of these things you actually can have at this stage, okay? So it's the initial conversation that happens. We get to understand what is it that the student wants to do, what are their aspirations. We also talk to parents, because we believe that parents have an equally important role to play in that career decision process. So we tell the students right in the beginning, you know what, we're going to ask your parents what are the aspirations they have for you, and we will bring them to that common place where both of them decide on what is best for the child, and we establish our own expectations. So I'm not going to, there's no particular, screenshot or anything that I can show you with regards to how this is done, because it just depends on you as a person, as an individual, on what your style is. So for me, I talk, for the many years that I've been doing, that connect is so important with the child, because you're actually establishing that trust element with them right in the beginning. So I talk about my hobbies, I talk about what subjects I loved, I didn't like. We talk about our families, we share experiences. If you've done a trip, what do I like to do in my free time? I love to run. Talking about all of those kind of things, so that they're like, oh yeah, you know what, I can trust this person. They're a little bit older, but I can actually trust them. They're kind of cool. And that's what you need to establish right in the beginning, because if you don't have that, they're just not going to be interested in every other stage, which is way more important. Okay, so that's the engage stage. The next one, explore, or even on the in the career counseling world, it's called exploration. Ideally, this is done with grade 10 students. So keep in mind, whoever's listening, just that I'm talking in terms of doing career counseling with high school students, okay? But you can kind of tweak it in whatever way that you want to be able to help whoever you're thinking of doing this with, okay? So ideally with grade 10 students, what we're doing at this, as the word says, is we're trying to make them explore or discover more about themselves. So what's my personality like? I mean, my parents tell me I'm a little bit quiet, but I don't think I'm quiet. They have to find out for themselves. What is their personality? What kind of skills do they have? What are they good at doing? What do they love to do? What interests? If you ask a 14, 15-year-old, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? They're like, I don't know, ask my mom, that kind of thing. We don't want those kind of reactions to come. We want them to be self-aware of who they are, what they're interested in, what's important to them, what do they value, so that we can get an objective view on what it is. So it'll be interesting to actually compare your notes once you ask them who they think they are, and then do like a personality test and kind of see how much disparity there is or not. And also at this stage, we're also encouraging them to do career exploration. Now keep in mind that exploration can also start as early as grade 9. We have lots of students who actually, say, I'm really interested in filmmaking, but I have no idea what I want to do in it. And so we encourage them to explore. And I will talk a little bit about how we do that with students, okay? So in Univariety, this is what we use. So these are the assessment tools that we use. So we have a personality style assessment, and that's based on the Myers-Briggs test that I talked about before. And the validity and reliability of this personality test is it's a very strong match to the MBTI. And what we found out is that 91% of individuals who actually sampled this personality test, they came back and said, you know what, we're very comfortable with the fit that it said we have, you know. So what it does is it looks at your personality and tells you what careers would be good. And 91% of individuals who sampled the test said, you know what, it's pretty good. And 75% came back and said, you know what, we got pretty much the same matches as when we did the MBTI. So that's pretty high, right? Then we have the multiple intelligence test, which is based on Howard Gardner's theory, where he says there are 9 different types of intelligences. So, sorry, I'm just looking at questions that are coming, but I will get to some of these questions once I finish with my PowerPoint. Okay, so the multiple intelligence test is based on the 9, which I was talking about, which is the bodily, kinesthetic, existential, interpersonal, intrapersonal, linguistic, logical, mathematical, musical, naturalistic, and spatial. So it looks, or it does an assessment to find out which are the strong points for a particular student. The learning styles test is based on a learning style questionnaire that was brought out almost over 30 years ago by Rita and Kenneth, isolating the factors that had the most amount of consistency. Okay, so what that means is he just looked at what was most common in most of the tests that were done. He pulled those out and made a revised learning style test, and that's the one that we use. We also have an amazing stream selector test that I love, and this is based very specifically for grade 10 students who have no idea, Miss, I love the sciences and I love humanities, what do I do? So based on the a RISEC test, we have a stream selector test that an assessment, I hate to use the word test, it's an assessment or a questionnaire that they do to see which one would be the best stream that they can get into, whether it's commerce or humanities or engineering, you know, any of those, medicine, all of that. Okay, so we look at that also. It's based on their aptitude, their interest, their personality, all of it is taken, and we come out with, on John Holland's code, we come out with what would be the best for them. And lastly, a branch selector. So not only do we do a stream selector, we do a branch selector. So then there are kids who say, yes, okay, I'm good at engineering. That's what the test said. That's exactly what I want to do. But what in engineering do I do? So then we break it down even further for them to choose a particular branch based on their aptitude, their whether it's commerce, engineering, humanities, whatever it might be. Okay, so these are the tests. Now, all of you might be asking me, why am I telling you, you know, what these tests are based on? Please, I just want... Can everyone see me? You can't hear me? Okay, let me try something else. Now, can you hear me? Is that better? Can you just let me know? I'll wait before I move on. Just let me know if you can hear me. I'll wait for comments. You still can't hear me? You can hear? That's better. I took off my earphones. Is this better? Okay. All right. Okay, so for those of you who couldn't hear me, basically what I went through is the different types of assessment tools that we are using at Univariety, and I've told you what they are based on, the different types of theories and where they come out from. So even for you as professionals, as educators, if you are thinking of going out and starting your own practice, it would be very important that you find out the validity and reliability of a particular test. Don't just take any test that's out there. So important that you look at the validity and reliability. I'm going to ask once more, can everyone hear me? Can you just confirm? I don't want to move on till you can hear me. So I'll just wait a minute till I hear from my team. Is it better? Let me just check and see. Yes? Okay, great. All right. So we're at the explore stage. You haven't missed anything if you couldn't hear me. Also, in Univariety, we also encourage students to do a virtual internship program that we offer students. So there are 18 different careers that students can choose from, kind of look at, eliminate, look at their interests, all of that, spark their interest. So we have that. And we also have something called a career deep dive. Okay, so just take a look at this. This is just a screenshot of what our platform looks like. So these are all the different assessments that you can see: the learning style, stream selector, personality. I'll talk about the other one in a little bit. All the branch selectors, all of this is available on our platform for students. And this is where they can do a deep dive. So look at the different types of, specializations that they can look at, whether it's psychology, whether it's music and dance. They can go in and do a deep dive to find out more about a particular course. Where can they study it? What kind of career options are there? So all of this is available on our platform. Okay, so we encourage grade 9 students in order to explore a little bit, to find out. They might have like 4 different interests. And so we say, you know what, why don't you start looking at some of this? Why don't you go in and start to research and find out things for yourself? Okay, so the next step is the third one. We've already finished Engage. We finished Explore. We're talking about Evaluate. So this is ideally, and so that's why I put the word ideally, ladies and gentlemen, only because it just depends who you're working with and which stage they're at, okay? But for us, most of the time we work, the evaluation stage is done in the grade 11, and this is the decision making. So we really want them to take this seriously and have maybe 2 or 3 career options that they're looking at, so that by the end of grade 11, they can make that final decision and have everything in place for the application process. So we help with the decision-making process. We make sure the authenticity of their interest. What that means is we want to make sure that they're not going into a particular career because their friends are going in or their parents are asking them to go. We want to make sure that the decision that they have taken, the country that they've chosen, the course they've chosen is what they want to do. So again, we ask them to do in-depth research on the different career options. If you choose a particular course, what will you be doing 5 years from now, 10 years from now? When you close your eyes, do you see yourself doing this particular career? Or, questions like that. We try and brainstorm, making sure that this is the right fit for them. We also, I think what is very important is start to put timelines together. So what requirements? Are you looking in the US? What kind of aptitude test do you have to do? Are you looking here in India? What entrance test do you have to do? We start to put together a timeline for them so that they can be reminded. I can't tell you how important that is. And sometimes you really need a good system, a reliable technology in order for students to get those reminders. Hey, by the way, in 2 months, your SAT is coming up. Oh, this is when your entrance test is going to be, things like that. So you don't have to keep following up. What happens a lot of the time with school counselors is they get so overwhelmed with all the different, deadlines that they have to keep in their minds. But with technology, it's completely different. And our last point for Evaluate would be to understand the parent view. Are they on board with this? Because eventually they're the ones who are going to be financing it, right? And somebody asked me a question about it, and I will take your question. But just getting that parent view, making them understand this is what your child wants to do. This is their personality. This is their skills. We see a good match. This is a good potential career for them. So making parents understand is also what we do at this stage. In Univariety, we have an ideal career test that we do. Again, this is an assessment. So what it does is measures 4 main things, which is motivation, aptitude, interest, and personality. And what it does is it'll take all the results from these and then it'll put together and say, hey, based on your motivation, aptitude, interest, and personality, these 3 are your strongest careers that you should be looking at. So looking at motivation, it looks at what motivates an individual to work. Now, this is a test you can use for someone who's in college also. So it measures like respect, how important is respect, or money, freedom, recognition, things like that is what it measures. Then we look at aptitude. So what are you good at? Are you good at working with numerics? Are you good with verbal, things like that? So we look at all of that also. And then we look at personality type, which is again very important. So what kind of person are you? Are you assertive? Are you spontaneous? Are you passive? Are you creative? Things like that. So we look at that. And we look at the interest also based on the Holland code. So once we get all of that, then it gives an automatic result, and it also highlights strengths and weaknesses. It says, listen, child, these are your strengths. You're fantastic at these, but these may be some things that you need to work in. And I think that's fantastic for a teenager to actually know how they can improve. That's very, very, very important. So we do that with grade 11 students so that we can start to put a plan or a roadmap together for them. We look at, there's lots of college and course information tools that are available. So looking at top colleges, maybe they want to know top colleges in business. For my daily webinars, children will always ask me, Miss, where do I study computer science in India? Or where do I do business in India? And what about psychology in India? Things like that. If you just get onto the platform, put top colleges for a particular course, it'll give you a list of colleges, not only in India, but all over the world. There's a fee calculator for parents, so important, just to find out, for them to start to even budget, right? To put together, how much money, if I'm looking at the UK for medicine, how much money do I need to put away? Students can also compare courses between 2 different colleges, and also compare colleges based on geographic location, how many students in a particular college, how many international students, what's the fee. So all of those comparisons. And trust me, I know children who have used some of these tools and they make such good decisions because they start so early on. Right? Now, there are other resources that are also available, like webinars. There are articles related to maybe, what's it like? How do you transition from school to college, for example? Or what's life in the US like? Things like that. There are webinars and articles that are available, and also mock tests for some of the popular tests like JEE and NEET, and all of those will all be on our platform that students are able to access. We also, like I said, talk to parents and students. That is one, we at least have a few conversations or counseling sessions both with parents and students together. So here are a few snapshots of again what students can do. Looking at top colleges, they can explore colleges in India to Singapore to New Zealand. They're able to compare colleges, and say they choose a particular college. Say somebody's looking for engineering at MIT, then they're able to see how much. This is just the tuition fees it's talking about. It's way more expensive than that if you're thinking. What kind of scholarships do they give? What kind of entrance exams do I have to do? All of that information is also available for students to access and look at. Okay, so these are some things that are available in terms of the grade 11 students. So that is all the decision making that they have to do. We're hoping by the end of grade 11 they all have final college lists, because what happens in grade 12 is they start to prepare. So as a career counselor, you start to prepare for all the application requirements. So this sometimes is done even before, especially if they're looking at studying abroad. They have to have a really good CV or a profile together. So you make sure that they have all of that. What kind of skills do they need? Do they have to have interview skills? What about case studies? Are they going to be put on the spot in order to figure out a case study, to critically think and analyze? Okay, group discussion. So we help them develop those skills. We put a final college list together. We have timelines with regards to tests and applications, what we've just been talking about. And we help parents to manage finances. Okay, that's something that you have to do as a career counselor, telling parents very earlier on. I've had students, and it's broken my heart, where they have put in their all to apply. I remember this boy who applied to University of Toronto, and he was so excited. He had to do a video. He did the video. He did everything. Got into the Rotman Business School, which is extremely hard to get into. And then when it was ready for him to go, his father came and said, "Whoops, I'm so sorry, but I don't have the finances to send you. And it's so sad. And I know he had to, remain back in India, which is such a mind shift for a child. So I think it's, our responsibility sometimes to tell parents, this is the amount of finances that you need. And this is how you need to keep away. These are the kind of things that you can show on your financial statement. So you need to be aware as a career counselor with regards to that. And then finally, we help with the application process, help them with filling out their application, sending it off, making that right decision, all of it. This is the implementation. The last two stages, preparation and implementation stage, is in Execute. So what we do at Univariety, again, like I said, we start maybe end of grade 12. In grade 12, especially with that planning in advance for that profile, we start talking to them. So that's why you'll see a lot of these stages are enmeshed into each other, because they have to gradually flow. And that's why it's important. We have to recognize where students want to apply early on. If they say, I want to go to school in grade 12, one of the most important things a student going into fine arts is a portfolio, or music, any of that. If you don't have a portfolio, they won't even look at your application. But that's something that needs to be started very early on. That's knowledge that you need as a career counselor, as an educator who's trying to help a student. So grade 11 and 12 is when we start to put all of these plans into process, right? We put together a final college list. Actually, the platform does it, which is wonderful. So based on how the student has done on the assessments, based on their academic scores, based on their SAT scores, maybe we put together like a realistic and safe college list for them, or the platform does that. And then we look at it, make sure that that's where the student wants to go and study. We help with admission test guidance. So say, hey, there's an SAT coming in October. You need to be registering for that. So helping them with the registration. And then the platform will remind them, saying, you better be doing some of these sample SAT papers. This is your test is coming up soon. There's tons of scholarship details that are updated very often on our platform. And then we have application preparation services, for individual students, not school-wise. So if they say, Miss, I really need help to put together a really good profile, can you help me with extracurriculars? We provide them that service. Or if a student comes and says, I need help with my application forms and with the visa, then we help them. So those are all different services that we offer on an individual basis to students. Now, here's just a snapshot, again, a screenshot of how you can look at different scholarships, and you'll see right on top. So say, whatever college you take, it'll tell you about the college, it'll tell you the different courses that are offered in that particular college, various insights, interesting facts about that college, the type of scholarships that are offered by that particular college, what are the dates for the applications, very, very, very important, and information about the campus in general. So there's so for each college that we have information like this. Students are also able to compare themselves to other students who applied to these particular universities and see what their chances are. Hey, if they got an 80% and they got into UBC, what are my chances? So they can put that on a particular, like on a graph, there's them that's been created, and they can see, what their chances are. All right, so this is about scholarships. And so I hope you understood about, the last bit. So basically, four different steps that we want students to take in any career counseling process: to engage, to explore, to evaluate, and execute. Now you might say, you know what, what's the benefit of all of this, right? How is it going to benefit a student? First of all, excuse me, it helps to track a progress of a student. I can't tell you how important that is, especially from grade 9 to grade 12. What is that journey that they're taking? What are the different things that they're able to do in each year? How do we put that plan together? Secondly, we help them set achievable goals. Okay, realistic. I think that's the word. We help them set realistic career goals, which is so important for any teenager. We're not going to build castles in the air and say, yeah, you've got a 50%, but I'll get you into Stanford, no problem. That's not what we do. We say, you know what? Let's look at your strengths. Let's look at your personality. Let's look at what you love to do and find you a nice course and find you a nice college that we can send you to. That is our job. We also help. Having a clear process as a counselor helps you resolve like confusion in a child, right? There's already things around them that confuse them. The last thing they should be confused about is what they want to do. We don't want a child to go and to the US and study there and then in one semester say, Miss, I really chose the wrong. And you can't help it sometimes. But for me as a counselor, I take it personal. When a student does that, I feel like I didn't do my job well enough in order to help them explore. So it's a tremendous responsibility we have, but also one that brings you amazing amount of satisfaction and just happiness to see a child flourish, nothing like it, and having clarity and working towards it, okay? And lastly, making choices in the right way, not haphazard. Last semester of grade 12 coming and Miss, I don't know where to apply. Help me. That's not the way to do it. Okay. So that leads to career success and satisfaction. I'm telling you, I have seen this happen so many times that students have, the difference between those that have, started to plan from the beginning to those who have been last minute. And, the fruit of it is very, very, very evident. I just got a real quick note, and it's just a request. If all of you could just put your name and your email ID and contact number in the comment section, that would be a great help to us. I'm almost done. I just have 2 more things I want to talk about, and then I'm going to open it up for a little bit of discussion between us. Happy to take questions or comments. So just looking at all of this, we've talked about, career counseling in general. We've talked about the process. We've talked about the different stages. Now you're asking, what's in it for me? How am I going to benefit? Or some of you might say, you know what? I do have a practice, but I don't know how to get it up and running. I want to do this, but where do I start? Right? Well, what do we do to take that first step? So I just want to tell you about this really, really amazing program that Univariety has come up with. It's a fantastic program. It's called Super Counselor. And if you can see, the little signage on the bottom, it's Super Counselor with the cape. Because you're a superhuman beings. That's what we want. People who are going to transform lives and change the world. So it really has been a game changer. I have talked to super counselors who have got on board, who are doing this. They're fantastic. So basically what it is, and I'll show you the benefits of it. But if you are at a place where you're saying, I want to be a career counselor and I really don't know what I need to do and how, I need to get started up, you're in luck. You know why? Because all this technology and whatever I've been showing you that Univariety does is yours if you become a super counselor. Not just that. So it's not only just the assessments on all of it. There's way more guidance and help. So basically we hold your hand till you can stand on your own 2 feet as a counselor, and then we kind of let you fly and be super about it. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to quickly go through. So this is information. If you really quickly want to read, you don't have to read, but there's lots of advantages. If you don't want to go to a school system, you want to start something on your own, you can. I showed you right in the beginning how much of a need there is for career counselors. So don't for a moment think that you're just going to be sitting at home with no clients at all. You're absolutely wrong. You have access. If you decide to be a super counselor, you will have Asia's largest online school-based counseling network. You will be part of that. Okay, that's what you're going to be part of. You will have all this technology that I've been talking about. So here's what you will get. If you become a super counselor, you'll have more than 40 hours of online certification course by UCLA Extension and Univariety. UCLA, you definitely want to have a certification from them because everyone knows about them. Okay, so if you say, you know what, I already have a little bit of background, I don't need this, fine, you don't need to, but you will have access to our technology, the system that I've been talking about, all that research that your students can do, all the questions that you might have as a counselor with regards to regular updates from universities or scholarship information, any of that, even for you to benefit from. Assessments, we offer 8 different types of psychometric assessments, and I showed you what they are based on. They're all based on different types of career counseling theories. We also help you with your marketing and your branding, so we will create a website for you. We'll help promote how much ever we can that you've come out. I've seen, amazing super counselors come out with their own name for their company and business cards. It's amazing. Brand promotion happens. So there is a super counselor website where our students, that are on our platform can access, and they can find a particular counselor, maybe in their region, and we will list you on our super counselor website. Okay. You're also invited to a 1-day immersion workshop where you'll be able to network with other super counselors, other people who are doing exactly the same thing, share ideas, share best practices, really great opportunity to learn and network. We also give you access to some of the products that we are offering to our students. So you'll be able to get it at a discounted price, and then you will be able to hand it or give it or distribute it to your students as you wish. All right, or set whatever you want to do with it. And then the best, I think this is like ultimate. So if you as a super counselor decide, you're going to go to different schools or different organizations and you're going to run workshops or counseling workshops on career related issues, we will give you that workshop. We will put together the PowerPoint. We will give you, so as long as it's workshops that we're doing, you're more than welcome to use that information. We'll give you notes. We'll give you like a recorded version of it so you know what you need to say. It's all there. So don't fear. If this is something that you've been thinking about venturing into, something that you're thinking, you know what, yes, I like what I'm doing, but I want to add to it, here is your chance. So I'm just going to go ahead and put out our email address, our phone number. We're more than happy to have one of our senior business analysts call you, talk to you, explain it more in detail. I'm just giving you like an overview because I want to have a little bit of a discussion with you all. But we're happy to show you a demo how it works. Take down our number, visit our super counselor website. It's all there. And now is the time. There is such a critical need for career counselors. Everyone is so uncertain as to what's happening. Now is the time in order to make that impact, in order to upskill, in order to be a better educator, be a better, not that to be a super counselor defines who you are, but it definitely, you will definitely have students who will come to you to seek guidance and take advice from you. Okay, let me take this question. Many a times I've observed while counseling is parents who want their child to choose any career of their choice, but the child is least bothered about selecting any career, and when time flies, they regret wasting time. How to deal with such students? I love this question, and I have seen it so often. So I completely empathize with you. So I also think we have a role, to kind of instill an interest in a child. A child may not be interested in something because they haven't seen the good side of a particular career, right? Maybe that's why they're just not interested right from the beginning. They're like, anyway, my parents are going to choose, so why should I choose? Right? But it's important for us to, expose them to, hey, why don't you take a look at this? Look at what all you can do with this. You try to instill that interest in a child. I know it heavily depends on what happens in the household also, and also what teachers are saying, the kind of feedback. A lot of times, students like this are those who say, you know what, Anyway, my teachers are saying I'm useless, Tarun is saying my video is paused, but I'm here. Can everyone see me? Yes? Can everyone see me? Tarun, can you just let me know if you can see me, please? Okay, so I think we have a big responsibility in instilling that, to expose them to different careers. Thank you, everyone. So so start from there, and you need to make sure that parents and students are aligned in that decision that they take. Very, very important to find that alignment, and that will only happen when you connect with both parent and student. They need to trust you. I've seen some of my counselors, parents will trust them blindly because they have worked with them before. They know that anything that a counselor says is only with the best interest of the child in mind. So you need to gain that trust first before you can start to make an impact. Okay, Miss Naga is asking me, can you please explain what is MBTI? So MBTI is a test that has been, it's a very, very very popular career counseling test that a lot of places, even workplaces, are running it. So basically, or conduct it. So it comes out with a 4-letter code, okay, like ENFJ or ESF, whatever I think it is. So, and then based on that, it'll tell you the kind of person you are, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, or whether you use intuition, or do you take head decisions or heart decisions, things like that. Are you more of an emotional person, or are you more of a logical person, things like that. And then it'll tell you the type of character that you are, or the personality that you have, and the kind of careers that are good for you. That's what an MBTI is. Okay, you should look at it. It's amazing. Myers-Briggs. Okay, Varsha's asked me, what is RIA SEC? The full form, before that, the full form for Myers-Briggs is MBTI is Myers-Briggs Temperament Indicator. That's what it stands for. Type indicator. Myers-Briggs Type Indicator is what MBTI stands for. RIASEC are the codes which are based on John Holland's theory of interest. So there are lots of interest inventories that you can do. It's based on whether a person is realistic or investigative or artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. So what it does is it'll ask a multitude of questions, and it'll bring out the strongest two, and it'll combine those two, R and S maybe, or S and E, whatever, and it'll give you a list of careers that are really good. There is actually there's a code book that you can go into, Holland Code Occupational Directory or something it's called, and it's a big book, and it'll tell you the under different combinations what all jobs are really good for them. Okay, let me take some questions. So some of you, if you all are saying you're stuck, you might want to just refresh your own website, your own site, and it might work. Okay, Miss Leela is asking me, I understand it's mostly for 12th standard students, but can this aid me in helping my students once they're in college? Maybe for higher education and career? Yes, absolutely. So Miss Leela Chauhan, a lot of the tests that I talked about, so maybe not the branch selector test and the stream selector test. Those you may not need for your postgraduate students, but all of the others, your personality test, the ideal career test, very good for those who are looking at higher education. Okay, so it's a process that you take them through. You still do the 4 or 5 stages of counseling, and you take them through these tests, and you can help them through it. Okay, so definitely, Miss Leela, it's something that you definitely want to look at. Then what else? Does one need license after you've done with the course? No, you don't. These tests are so for some of these tests like MBTI and everything, you need to be certified. There are some tests, but the tests that we have been simplified that any career counselor can use it. You just need the background information of some of these. There will be training in order for you to do these tests. You will get that, and that's why it's good that you do that 40 plus hours in order to learn about some of these psychometric tests. Okay, but you don't need a license. You can, if you want to be certified, you can, but you definitely don't. Your work will speak for itself. How you use these reports, how you use these results, how you help students make informed decisions is what is going to help you. Okay, so is the certification approved by the government of India? So whoever asked this, you don't need it to be approved by the government of India. It's not a bachelor's degree that you're getting. It's something that is going to help you start a profession. That's all it is. It's like upskilling yourself in order to do better what you're already doing. It doesn't need to be certified by the government of India, but the course that we're talking about is certified by UCLA, the University of California, Los Angeles. It's certified by them. That itself shows its credibility. Okay, if someone wants to join government schools, colleges as counselor, will they accept? Why wouldn't they? Of course they would, because it's a career counseling certification that you are doing. We know of lots of, we know people who've done this course and now are working in schools, okay? And now a lot of the CBSE schools have made it mandatory to have a career counselor. So you do stand a chance. You don't need, because if you look, there's only a master's in counseling that you'll be able to do. There's no master's in particular in career counseling. It'll all be certification courses. So why not get a certification course that gives you an international, certification as well as something from India? And so your chances of applying to jobs increases much, much more. Okay. Ms. Varsha, I've already explained RIA SEC. I hope you got that. So how do we get the workshops and counseling presentations? Great question. You need to be a super counselor in order to get those. But if you are interested in some of those things, just show us your interest. Just write to us, give us a call, let us know, and we're more than happy to have a conversation on how we can help you better in terms of you getting those counseling and workshop presentations. What is the role of a teacher or a facilitator as a counselor? I love that question. Great question. What you need to keep in mind if you are a teacher or a facilitator is you are the first point of contact for a child when they want guidance. Have you noticed that? Especially if you're in the higher classes, they will come to you and they'll be like, Miss, I want to study economics, but where do I go? Which are good. And so as a teacher, I think it's so important that you have that information. And someone just asked, do you cover courses and colleges from India? Yes, we do. We tell you what kind of courses, what kind of liberal arts or interdisciplinary courses there are. What can you do here in India? What can you study outside of India? What pre-requirements do you need? So we give you all of that information. And so there's always been this dialogue of, should teachers be career counselors also? You might not double up to do all the applications and things like that, but you can give them knowledgeable advice that is, based on something. It's not baseless, something that we knew 20 years ago and we're telling them. It's current, it's updated. We know what we're talking about. So very, very, very important for a teacher in order to know some of these career counseling related issues. All right. Santoshini is asking, any certified course along with career counselor membership is available in Super Counselor. So like I said, there is the certification course from Univariety and from UCLA Extension. That's what you get. All this technology that I've been talking about, you'll get the webinars. You'll get all the workshops. You'll get everything that you need in order to get up and running. And all of these that we're doing, all these webinars, you'll have access to it. You'll have workshops that we're going to have often once we open up everything, the immersion workshops. So those are the different types of certifications that you will continue to receive as a super counselor. Anita Pandey is saying parents are sometimes quite concerned that their children don't listen to them. Parents generally push children to take counseling, but the students don't follow how to deal with such ignorance of students. So I think, Miss Anita, I think both parents and students need equal amount of counseling. So it depends what kind of counseling. If it's behavioral counseling, it's a whole different ball game. But for career counseling, you really should have a couple of sessions that you have both students and parents with you, so that you can understand where each one is coming from. Understood? It's otherwise, don't go by hearsay. The parent says, oh, the child said this, and the child says, oh, the parent said that. Have them all in a room. Have a joint session so you can understand, and you can be the mediator to bring about some sort of resolve with the kind of issues. I know sometimes children don't want to come. I have dealt with children like that. I know what it's like. But it's important for them to understand the benefits of coming to you. You can say, I can help you. I'll help you find a course. I'll help you choose your courses. I'll help you with your application process. And no child is going to say, no, I don't need your help. Maybe a handful, because they've already sorted it out, or somebody else is doing it for them. But they need to know that you're someone that they can rely on, and trust me that they will come to talk to you more than they talk to their parents. Okay? There are children, Ms. Sureksha saying, there are children who think they don't need career guidance, but turn up taking wrong decisions. Have you ever come across such students? How do you motivate them to take guidance? Absolutely, my gosh, Ms. Sureksha, I can't even tell you how many times. So I had this student who actually said, Miss, I don't need to come to you. I know what I want to do. Somebody's already put a college list for me, and this is what I'm going to be studying. And I told this boy, I said, listen, I know you. I know your personality. I've seen you outside the classroom. I know what your strong points are. Please let me help you get into college. Then the parents came, and the parents told me, we don't need your help. We're fine. You just send the documents. We only want you to do that. Make sure he fills out the application properly. We have everything sorted. I said, fine. And I didn't. And then he came back and he said, I'm so sorry, but I didn't get into one college that I applied. Can you put together that list for me? So I think it's important. So I take my job very personal. I mean, people who know me well know that. Okay, I'm very, very protective about what I do as a career counselor. But we need to recognize there's only so much you can do. So like I told Miss Anita, you know what? We have to tell them the benefits of them coming to talk to you. So I do a lot of group sessions. I used to in the classroom, go and tell them as a whole. And then, you kind of need to instill that excitement in them and say, you need to do it now, that sense of urgency for them to do it. And they will, when they see their friends do it, they will come. And you need to kind of talk about the impact of making wrong decisions. Use your own examples. Tell them how students have had to take a gap year or not got the scores and therefore thrown out. Things like that is what you can do. Okay. What kind of psychology theories we should know to be a better counselor? So you don't really. I'm on both sides of that. I think it's beneficial if you are a counselor, some of those social psychology, those theories, or cognitive behavior, all of those kind of things, so that, because sometimes your conversations, Ms. Ritu, is not just about careers with these students. You know what I mean? Because they suddenly realize they can confide in you, and then they tell you all these other things, and you really kind of need to sort them through those issues. And so important that you keep it confidential. What I would suggest is that you just learn the career counseling aspects of it. And sometimes what I've even done is refer them to a counselor so that they can actually work through their issues in a better way, in a more effective way. Okay, so they know that you're there to listen to them, and that's what you can do. That is huge amount of help for them if you can listen to them, and then maybe to refer. Please don't tell their parents that they're going through it unless it becomes really serious. Help them through a process of sorting out their issues that they're going through. How to decide which test to be given to which students, we can definitely help you with that. We will guide you what needs to be done with each student at which stage. So I did show you at different stages, at the explore stage what we do, at the evaluate stage what we do. So ideal scenario, we can definitely help you with that. Okay. Are there psychological tests? So there's a psychometric test, and then there are assessments that we do. So we don't basically, I mean, do you mean for Mr. Deepak, like psychological tests like for depression and stuff? No, we don't do any of that. Only career related issues is what we do. Did UCLA provide completion certificate? So you will get a completion and a participation certificate. You get both, like I said. Okay. So there are, what are the government compliance needed regulations around starting a career counseling? I don't think there are any, especially if you're starting one on your own. Okay, as long as you're doing legitimate work and helping students and having the best interest of students in mind, I don't think you need to be, there is any kind of government compliance for this kind of thing. We know lots, and we'd be happy if you get in touch with us. We're happy to share testimonies of current super counselors and how they're doing right now and how they're appreciated by the community that they are in. Okay, so you don't need to worry. This is not some under the table kind of profession. We're out there. What we want is we're urging you to help us. There's only so many students we can help, but look at the number of students that need the help. And that's all we're doing. We're trying to help you to get on board with us to help these students who have absolutely no guidance at all. Okay. So I hope I answered your question. Okay. So Ms. Supriya, you've asked what is the price range of these tests. So that's something that you will have to talk to the person who's going to be calling you about. I don't get into that. That's not, my forte at all. Mine is career counseling, as you can clearly see. But we'll be happy. I'm more than happy to get someone to call you just to kind of take you through and, all the pricing. There are a few others who've asked me. It's the same. We'll get someone to call you. You can look on our website. All the information with regards to pricing is there for the different, categories and whatever else that you need. And we really, really are hoping that all of you will think about this, because this is a viable option, especially if you're thinking, what more can you do right now? We would. So thank you, Ms. Anupama. Similar to Ms. Anupama, if you all are interested, just put the word interested. We're happy for you just to put that, and we'll get someone to call you. It's finally your decision, but this is a viable option as a career, to be somebody who's out there to help students. Okay. Let me see if I can take a few more questions. So can somebody, Ms. Ritu, really good question. I actually asked this question myself. Can somebody from a different background able to excel in being a career counselor? So it's something that you need to decide for yourself, right? I went through some of the processes. You're working, depends. Do you like working with high school students, or do you like working with college going students? If that's something that you like to do and you believe that, you can make that connect, you've worked with individuals in that age bracket before, then definitely this is something that you can do, because we will be teaching you the skills from before. We've had, people like, stay-at-home moms who've said, I really want to help my child through this, this career decision process, and they have signed up. We've had people from various backgrounds come in and be so passionate about what they do. I have a friend who's in Kochi who owns hotels, and he's a career counselor now. I have a friend here who's in Manhattan, in the middle of the financial industry, in the hub of finance. and she's here being an amazing career counselor. So yes, my answer is absolutely, as long as the keyword here is making a positive impact on a child and finding that best interest. So I can see so many of you. I'm so excited to see that a lot of you are interested. This is amazing news, and we definitely hope that a lot of you will give it some thought and get on board with us, help us so that we can be this really strong network of counselors making positive changes in the lives of students. Okay, can we take sessions in other schools? Of course, Ms. Zonera, we have as long as the school is okay with you going in, but there are lots of our super counselors who actually represent themselves, go into schools, do counseling sessions, do workshops for parents, for teachers, for students. So yes, you absolutely can do that. Okay, after the course, can we open our center? Whoever you are, that's exactly, I'm sorry that it didn't come out clear enough, but yes, that's what I want you to do, to be able to open your own center, and we're here to hold your hand and help you through that process. Okay, so yes, Mr. Unknown, we definitely want you to start your own center. How much time does it take for an individual practice to pick up? So I've heard mixed reviews about this. If you ask me, it really depends on where you are. So there are some cities where there's such a huge need, and it'll pick up immediately. As long as you have the resources, we set you up with your website, we set you up with your branding, we set you up with your technology, with all the assessments that you need. You're up and ready to go. It's all about how the word gets out there. What I would advise to you, what I would provide to you as advice is start slow. Take 2-3 students, because this is new for you. Get used to how that whole stages of career counseling happens, and then you can start to go to pick up more students and more clientele like that. So start slow. So even if you have 3-4 students and that's going well, start with that. You get used to it as a counselor, and then you can pick up more. Okay. So we know the cognitive behavioral therapy, Dr. Rajiv, no, it won't cover cognitive behavioral. That's not something that we will be looking at, but you can go on to our supercounselor.com. There'll be more information over there with regards to what we will be providing you. Okay. Hi, ma'am, our academic programs today need to prepare students for a job that is not existing today. In that process, teachers who would take up the career counselor certification course need to be given a better understanding of the market attitude, skills, knowledge that is expected in each of prospective jobs in their discipline. Does this course consider this element too? Great question. So I don't think it particularly talks about 21st century skills. So we've been doing workshops on 21st century skills, but that's something that you as a career counselor can take out. What it'll provide for your teachers is the different type of course combinations that are out there. What can you put with business? Can you do psychology with business? Can you do computer science with business or with biology? What's different combinations that you can do? It'll show you the kind of upcoming careers that are coming. Yes, we talk about that in great detail, and it'll show you where you can study particular courses or careers in order to get into that particular field. So as a teacher, I think that's all you need to know. That much knowledge is important and essential for you, because you definitely want to know, if a child comes and asks you, you want to have some sort of feedback. But with regards to 21st century skills, it may not touch upon, but that's something you can do as a counselor. I go around to schools in India talking to children and parents about 21st century skills and talking about upcoming careers. So that's something you can do as a counselor. But if they are going to take on the certification course, they will get the knowledge that they need in order to guide their students better. I hope that made sense. Okay. Mr. Vishnu, how much is the scope of career counseling out of India or abroad? So let me tell you this. I know that a lot of, if you look, it depends where you're looking. Career counseling is there, it's present, but it's not as prevalent as it is here in India. Okay, students so if you're looking at the US, people don't venture out of the US that much. It might change next year, although they might come here to study, but that's a whole different thing on its own. But I know there are some high schools that offer it, but not everyone has a career counselor that they can work with. There are colleges that have really strong career counseling offices. So that's somewhere that you think if you can contribute, you can. So I worked in Dubai before I came here to India, and I worked in a college for 2,000 Emirati women who were looking at going into the workplace. So there is a need for career counselors anywhere around the world, whether you're looking at working with high school students, whether you're working with undergraduates, whether you're looking at working with adults who want a career change. Okay? I hope I answered your question, Mr. Vishnu. Thank you, everyone. You all have given me such sweet compliments. I really, really appreciate it. We will be sending you your certification in the next couple of days. I'm going to take just a few more questions and then I will be out of your faces, at least for a little bit. But I really, really hope that a lot of you can hop on board with us. Be really strong. I see some of you, I see your passion, I see your authenticity in helping your students and helping children around you. So please just make use of this opportunity that's been given to you. We're here to help you and to support you, to give you the guidance that you need. So again, Ms. Renuka, I'm going to not the fees that you're going to charge, that would be up to you and how popular you are, right? But that's something that our business analysts can help you. Like I told you, they will help you think through some of these. It's a very valid question, but it'll all depend on the amount of work that you put in, or the amount of research, or the amount of colleges that you're helping a child with. All of that you have to factor in before you put a fee. It's just not a random fee. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for such positive feedback that you have given me. I'm very, very, very appreciative. It's the least that I could do. Can you please provide some theories on through PDFs? I'd be happy to. If you could write to me at greatguide@univariety.com, I can put some stuff together for you, or maybe some links that I even referred to in order for you to learn a little bit more about these career counseling theories, and it's really good knowledge to have. Okay, let me just see if so will the content given by you be on the individual name or in the super counselor name? So if you become a super counselor, Ms. Santoshini, then it'll be in your name. I think that's what you're asking me, right? It'll be everything that we do will be in your name. It's not in our name. It's all you. It's all in, and you won't be, to us, you will be called a super counselor, but when you go out there as a counselor, you're just known as Ms. Santoshini. So I think that's what you're trying to ask me, but there's, but if you need more clarity on that, I'm happy. Just write to me at greatguide@univariety.com and I am happy to help you. Okay. So do private CBSE schools have vacancies for counselors in major cities like Hyderabad? I know that a lot of schools are looking. I have seen that there are schools like in Bombay and stuff, for sure, big major cities that are looking. So if you're new to this profession, what I would suggest is join as an assistant counselor. But also you have that opportunity, if you don't want to be confined to a particular school system, you can start something on your own, and that's what we've been talking about. So the choices are umpteen. You have many, many things that you can choose from, so don't worry about it. But definitely there are schools. I know there are schools in Bombay and Bangalore that are definitely looking for counselors. Okay. Okay, how can we get to know that students are interested in our counseling and some methods of engaging them during the session? So if you are doing, so ideally it shouldn't be how we just did right now, that you're just talking the entire time. You should have a lot of activities in between. They love activities. Just make it fun. I never have like a dialogue or a script that I'm reading out of when I'm talking or doing workshops. I love workshops. I thrive on that. I love standing in front of kids and talking. You need to say things that will somehow connect with them. You know what I mean? So refer to something that they're doing right now, like PUBG or, whatever. And I tell them, I admit and say, I don't know what it is. But then they're like, just the fact that you know it, or Mario Brothers, or whatever it might be, a video game that they're playing, they will be happy about it. Or talk about the Avengers, anything that you feel will bring a connect. If it's a one-to-one session, it's a lot easier because you're talking about hobbies. It's very, very, even food that you love, common food that you love to eat, is enough to kind of build that sense of like trust between a child and you, because they're like, wow, you're talking about like random things and I can just sit here and talk to you about anything. So when I worked in a school system, I would have kids just come in just to talk about anything. And that's how you need to be. You need to be open in order to have kids just to come in, just to have that kind of relationship with you, because then no matter what you say, they will trust you. They will do what you need them to do and kind of be receptive to what you're trying to say. Okay, so I think on that note, I will stop. I don't think there are any more questions. I am very appreciative once again for all of you who have been here. Do we access to the website given by, okay, that would be something that you would talk to. I can get someone to call you. I don't have your name, but I'm sure we can get in touch with you to give you more information about the fees. Okay, is this process can be implemented in small cities? Absolutely. If you see a need in your particular city, it's something that you should do, because you can 100% know that your students have no idea where to go to college. At least, be a person that's there to open up their minds and for them to know that there are universities outside of where they are that they can start to look at. That's our responsibility, to open up their minds, to allow them to explore to new kind of careers that are out there and upcoming careers, getting them ready. Okay. Somebody's asking me, what's the difference between child counselor and career counseling? So child psychology or individual counseling or child counseling is where you're only working with the child with regards to their behavioral issues. So maybe they're going through issues. It's not related to their career. Career counseling is helping students finding their best fit, or helping them find what they're interested in doing, or helping them find a college or a course. It's all career related. But with child psychology or individual counseling or behavioral counseling, it's looking at the other aspects of a child that they might be struggling with. Okay. So I think this is it. If you have any more questions, please do write to us. Yes, this is a self-paced course. You can do it at your own pace, which I love. As adults, you definitely need a self-paced course. Okay. And Anirudh is saying, yes, I agree. Small cities have huge potential, even bigger than big cities. I completely agree, because big cities have so many counselors. Small cities, you see 2 people and they tell 4 other people. That's it. That's all you need. Okay. So definitely consider it. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. I hope that we can have more of these webinars. Santoshini, sorry, I have to take your question because I've answered all your other questions. So again, that question about accessing the website and tool, I'm not sure if it's a lifetime accessibility. There will be someone who will definitely get in touch with you in order to talk about the fees. You know what? Just get onto the Super Counselor website. It'll all be there that you can see it from. Okay. All of these fees related issues are all there. I hope to see all of you as super counselors pretty soon, and I hope that we get to meet really quickly and network and brainstorm, and I want to hear about all your success stories. Look forward to meeting all of you all really soon. Thank you once again for being a part of our webinar this evening. See you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.